Today we are going to see the life story of Saint Eknath. Being an auspicious day, let us all involve ourselves into this story of Saint Eknath. This book is English translation of the Marathi commentary of the 11th skanda of the great Bhagavata Purana. This commentary is an Ovi meter, that is the popular meter in which generally the saints have written poetry. This contains philosophy as well as stories of various devotees of Lord Vishnu and incarnations of the Lord which took place during the span of many centuries. The 10th volume contains mainly the story of the life and Leelas of Lord Sri Krishna, and this 11th volume contains mainly the dialogue between Lord Sri Krishna and his loving disciple Uddhava, accompanied by some stories enhancing the morals of the ascetic life, which dialogue took place before the end of Lord Sri Krishna's incarnation. As the purpose in the mind of Saint Eknath was to explain in Marathi the teachings given by the Lord Sri Krishna to Uddhava and various manners in which other earlier teachers had taught religious philosophy, he had chosen this 11th volume. Effort is made to bring out in English the prose, the contents of Marathi text, Ovi by Ovi, in simple language to suit all English knowing readers. Now, a short life sketch of Saint Eknath is given here to acquaint the readers with the characteristic way in which the author led his life. Eknath is believed to have lived about 100 years before the advent of King Shivaji. Some records say that he was born at Paitan. It is a city famous even in those days for highly educated and learned citizens. Bhanudas, who brought back the idol of Sri Vittal from Vijayanagar to Pandharpur, was the ancestor of Saint Eknath. Chakrapani was the son of Bhanudas, and Surya Narayan was the son of Chakrapani, and Eknath was the son of Surya Narayan. Thus, Eknath was the great grandson of Bhanudas. His name of mother was Rukmini. So, Eknath was the son of Surya Narayana and Rukmini. He later became a well known saint. His family belonged to Deshastha Brahmins of Rigveda tradition, and his Gotra was Vishwamitra. Ekavira is the family deity of Eknath. His parents died soon after his birth. As a result, he was brought up by his grandfather Chakrapani. The thread ceremony of Eknath was performed when he was 6 years of age. He read Gita, Upanishads, 6 darshanas, books of philosophy, and mythological books like Bhagavata, etc. Writing, reading, and arithmetic were learned by him at a very early age. He had early contact with philosophy of devotion. His mind took interest in spiritual path, but he was not lucky enough to have any spiritual preceptor. He was eager to have the blessing of some guru. He asked his grandfather about it. The latter gave him guidance to go to Devgiri town and meet the holy Janardana Swami, who was a well-known scholar and a saint. Eknath went there. The young boy was very smart and had an easy flow of well-cultured speech. When he met Janardana Swami, he very humbly bowed before him and requested to accept him as his disciple and give regular initiation in the spiritual path. Janardana Swami had an idea how brilliant this boy was. He asked him some questions about his personal life, and knowing that he had taken permission of his grandfather and was already well versed in some literature of the path, he gave him initiation and accepted him as his disciple. From that time, Eknath began to live with his guru. Now let us know something about his spiritual lineage. The succession chain of the teacher disciple chain of Saint Eknath is written by almost all biographers as Narayana, who was the guru of Brahmadeva, who was the guru of Atri, who was the guru of Dattatreya, who was the guru of Janardana, who was the guru of Eknath. So, this is the lineage. This is supported by some thinkers, and it is generally believed that Lord Dattatreya, who is the son of sage Atri, is the grand teacher of Eknath. There is a mention in the biography of Saint Eknath that while he was living with his preceptor, he used to keep accounts very carefully. On one occasion, he remained awakened overnight just to find out an error of 1 pi, means 1 penny, or 1 rupee. This was noticed by Sri Janardana Swami. Looking to the sincerity and concentration of his disciple, Eknath, Janardana Swami began to love him like his own son. Janardana Swami used to sit quiet alone in the fort and go into trance. It is reported in his life sketch that Lord Dattatreya occasionally met him personally. One day, Janardana Swami thought it fit that Eknath should be taken to the Lord to see him. One Friday, he took Eknath with him and went to a secluded place on the north side of the fort. He said to Eknath, "My dear, nobody else except the Lord Dattatreya comes here. But one cannot be sure in what disguise he would come. However, you should not be afraid." Swamiji sat on a big flat stone and went into his usual trance. After some time, there came along a man in the attire of a Muslim mendicant. They are called fakirs. He was ill clad. He had a deer skin on his body. There was a katora, that is, a begging bowl, in his hand, and a bitch followed him closely, that is, a dog. Janardana Swami became aware of the approaching monk. He got up and ran towards him and held his feet with reverence. The fakir lifted him by holding his hand, and both of them sat together talking in low tones. Shortly, the monk gave Swamiji the begging bowl and told him to milch the milk of the dog. Swamiji got up and did as he was told. The monk took out from the shoulder bag he was carrying some pieces of stale bread and mixed them in that milk. Both of them enjoyed the improvised meal. Swamiji gave that begging bowl to Eknath and told him to cleanse it in the nearby pond. Eknath went to the pond. He took some water in the bowl, and the crumbs of the bread which were remaining were mixed in that water. He drank that water. The monk had seen what he was doing and understood his devotion. He also understood the reason why Janardana Swami told Eknath to wash the bowl. This was the time when Eknath got the correct guidance. A miracle happened. The monk was now appearing like the Lord Dattatreya, and the dog appeared like the divine cow. The Lord caressed Eknath and said, "Dear Janardana, this boy who is your disciple seems to be born with divine qualities. He will give spiritual guidance to people. I am much pleased with him." Then the appearance of Lord Dattatreya as well as that of the monk was no more visible. The mind of Eknath was filled with great ecstasy. Afterwards, the Guru and the disciple left that solitary place and came home. Eknath was advised by Janardana Swami to go to hill by the name Shulabhanj, which was on the northwest of Devgiri, and to sit meditating on Lord Sri Krishna. Eknath went there. During daytime, he used to meditate and eat some fruits in the evenings. A cowherd saw this boy doing penance. He began to bring a pot of milk for him, which Eknath thankfully accepted. One day, by chance, that cowherd came there earlier. He saw that a cobra was holding his hood on the head of Eknath to protect him from hot sun rays. Suddenly, the cowherd gave out a cry. The cobra went away. Eknath was awakened from the trance. Janardana had advised him to come back if any strange event happened. Eknath accordingly came back to Devgiri fort, bowed before his guru and told him what had happened. Janardana Swami said, "This is a sign that your study of meditation is completed. Now is the time for us to go for a pilgrimage." Eknath was in the company of his guru for 12 years, during which period he learnt many scriptures. But afterwards, the guru taught him about the realization of Brahman. Eknath went for pilgrimage with his guru. First, they visited the town by name Chandravati on the bank of the river Godavari. There, they met Shir Chandrabhat, who was a scholar, ascetic, and a yogi. At night, he presented for them a good commentary on a certain portion of Bhagavata Purana. That is the four verses, number 32, 33, 34, 35 of chapter 9 of volume 2 of the Purana. This was a very informative and inspiring talk, listening to which Swami Janardana was pleased, and he advised Eknath, "You should also write explanatory commentary on these four verses." Accordingly, Eknath wrote his own commentary while they both visited Panchavati and Triambakeshwar in their journey. This commentary is an example of deep scholarship and beautiful language. During the writing of the commentary, Eknath had a strange experience in the following words. The inspiration of composing poetry was unbroken in all the states and the sleep. While I was doing my daily work, while I was bathing, performing morning and noon and evening prayers, while taking my meals, the hidden meaning of Sanskrit verses used to appear before my eyes as if written in the air. At that time, I realized how great is the power and influence of the order of the Guru. The pilgrimage lasted quite long, after which Eknath, with his Guru Janardana Swami, returned to Devgiri. After some days, Swamiji told Eknath to go for pilgrimage to 8 Ganapati temples and 12 Shiva temples, and covered the northern India also. So again, Eknath, as advised by his Guru, completed that pilgrimage also. After that, Eknath came back to Paitan. Here, Eknath again met his grandfather Chakrapani and grandmother after many years. Janardana Swami had earlier given a letter with the grandfather for Eknath. The letter was handed over to Eknath by Chakrapani. In that letter, Eknath was given instructions that he should reside in Paitan only and enter into the family life and continue to worship God. Eknath's family life. According to the instructions of the preceptor, that is his guru, Eknath married at Paitan only in the year 1479. The bride's name was Girija. Eknath built a house at Paitan and made it his permanent residence. A relative by name Uddhava came to stay with him and began to do all the household works in the spirit of service to Eknath. Girija was a devoted wife. She looked after Eknath and their family. Life began happily. Sri Kandya, another servant, joined Uddhava. Swami Janardana, that is Eknath's guru, had already given Eknath a good ideal life of householder by example. Eknath's family life was also an ideal one. His life was rich with salient virtues such as self control as to mind and body, generosity, compassion for all beings, equanimity, giving of alms to poor, charity, worship of God by proper ritual, singing songs and performing programs of kirtans, discourses, remembering the name of the god by repeating with a rosary of beads, devotion, study of scriptures and religious books, peaceful disposition, yoga, and practice of meditation and contemplation and contentment, etc. Eknath had a son by name Hari and two daughters named Goda and Leela. Godavari was given in marriage to Chintamani in Paitan. Mukteshwar, the famous Marathi poet, was her son. The second daughter was married to one Balakrishna Pant Chandraketu from the neighboring village Dambala. She had a daughter by name Lakshmi. She was married to Narayan Dikshit from the village in Gulbarga district. Her son is known as Shivram Kalyanikar. He wrote a book by name Gita Chandrika. Eknath's son Hari Pandit was proud of Sanskrit language and had studied many Sanskrit books. He was little orthodox set of mind. Eknath was, however, had a generous mind. The son got differences with his father. Hari Pandit was very angry because Eknath wrote Marathi commentary on Bhagavata, and in that fit of anger he left Paitan for Kashi. But when scholars in Kashi praised the same commentary and treated it with great honor, he realized his mistake. His anger was gone. He returned home at Paitan, and thus the quarrel between the saintly father and erudite irate son came to an end. Eknath infused with God his own family life by living with a mind having no partiality or duality but sense of unity with all life. His home had become a university of saints and every pious person. His life was a living example of the philosophy of love for God and pious behavior. Even though he was leading a normal life of a householder, his mind was always in devotional contemplation. He had many other divine qualities. People felt presence of God in him. He promoted the doctrine that by true devotion, simple-minded persons can also be liberated from bondage of worldly life. In those days, priest class was engrossed in and proud of rituals and strict code of conduct, and people were also mostly preoccupied with yajnas, ritualistic performances, and other observances of fasts and vow, including shady activities for attaining evil powers. What great effort was made by Saint Dhaneshwar by writing Dhaneshwari for opening the royal road to liberation to all the people in society was also done again by Saint Eknath by writing this gem of commentary on the 11th skanda of Bhagavata. After reading the first 5 chapters, Guru Janardana Swami expressed his satisfaction, which made Eknath more self-confident about the whole project which he intended to complete. After he went to Kashi, he completed the whole book by the year Shaka 1495. The scholars in Kashi at first did not like the work of the Saint Eknath because they had pride of their tradition and did not like anybody writing commentary in Marathi, a colloquial language. But when they read the whole commentary carefully, they realized the value of the book and brought out a procession of the same in the city. Thus, this book was highly applauded in the city of Varanasi. Saint Eknath also composed the book by name Rukmini Swayamvar, which has the story of wedding of Rukmini, while he was at Kashi. This book is also in OV form. At Paitan, Eknath lived and led the family life for 40 years. His grandparents also lived with him for some years before the end of their life. One day, Eknath learned the sad news of demise of Guru Janardana Swami at Daulatabad. But instead of lamenting his parting, Eknath did not get disturbed and suffered the sorrow with his full heart. He said to his disciple Uddhava, "We are going to have a good ceremony on the 6th day of second fortnight of the month Falgun. Make preparation for it." Uddhava did not quite understand. Eknath explained, that is the date of birth of Swami Janardana. That is the date on which he personally saw the Lord Dattatreya through the blessing of my Guru. On this date, Swami ended his life. Now, another important happening will take place on this auspicious day. You will know the details later on. According to wish of Eknath, on the sixth day of second fortnight of the month of Phalgun, the death anniversary of Swami Janardana was observed with great ceremony. For meeting the expenses, Uddhava borrowed 700 rupees. The time limit of repayment was over. On the day when people were about to dine, the money lender suddenly appeared and warned, first, repay the debt. If you take meals without repayment, I swear by the god Panduranga. All people sat without food. The money lender gave the warning and went away. In between, the Lord Sri Krishna took the form of Uddhava and returned the amount of rupees 700 with interest at the house of the money lender. The money lender came to know about this when he reached home. He quickly came back to see Eknath and begged for forgiveness and said, I am very sorry that all of you are hungry and waiting for dinner. Eknath said, I do not understand why you are asking to be forgiver. We will take food only after we pay back your loan. The money lender was confused. He explained what had happened. Here was now the time for Eknath to be confused. He understood that while Uddhava was present with him, the Lord had impersonated and paid back the loan. With this, we will complete today's session. Tomorrow, we will see the continuation of Saint Eknath's family life. Thank you.